Boomer and Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki. Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
Yo, what's up? It's another episode of WFAN Daily with your host, Pete Hoffman. I'm live at MetLife still as we wrapped up this Giants-Chiefs Sunday night game. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to start with some good news. The New York Yankees won, unlike any other New York team today. The New York Yankees won. Now, I'm not talking about exhibition hockey, so I'm not going to get into Rangers and Devils. I'm just talking about the major sports that had regular season games. There were 4 games. The Yankees won. They went to Baltimore, did their job. Like, that's what you do. When you need to win games and you play bad teams, you should win those games. And I know it wasn't pretty. I know that they had to go, they were down early. Ben Rice had to tie the game, and then basically it went to the 10th inning, and the Yankees offense finally exploded to make it 7-1. But, they won. And that really, at the end of the day, is all that freaking matters. Whether it's good baseball, bad baseball, win the game. And that takes us to the New York Mets. They had another freaking stinker. Sean Manaea comes in, which we all thought that Sean Manaea had turned the corner after having 8 innings in a row where he only gave up 1 earned run. He looked good spelling for Clay Holmes, and everything seemed all right. And he came in, and he was not effective. They were down early. Again, defensive errors. This entire series versus the Nationals were terrible. The Nationals made a lot of errors, but the Mets made just as many, and it was brutal. It was terrible. It was, all the way around. If you want to talk about the center field with Mullins and Siri all weekend long, yeah, of course. But Pete Alonso had a bad day. The pitching staff had a bad day. Like Brandon Sproat had a bad day on Friday. I mean, they got through it, but it was just over and over and over. Everybody played a part in being terrible defensively. It's everybody, and there's really no hope in sight. We were talking about on Friday, like where Soto even took a play off in the outfield after when Sproat throws the ball away, and he's just kind of like, Brett Beatty, the second baseman, has to run to the outfield to catch a baseball, to get a baseball. That's what we're talking about. It's not good fundamentals right now, and you got 6 games left of the season. This is the most important time of the season. You got to step up, and the Mets aren't. And you look at what just happened versus the Nationals. Like, everyone's like, oh, you can't lose to the Nationals. Like, you just can't right now. But they did. Again. It's constant. And on Sunday's game, I mean, where do we go? What do we do here? Obviously, Jacob Young turned into a freaking Superman in the outfield, catching crazy balls, playing hacky sack, and kicking off his foot and still catching baseballs. It was outrageous what was going on for the Nationals. And the Mets just, again, you're talking about pitching staffs that are terrible. The Nationals are terrible. Their starting pitchers are ERAs are in the 5s. The bullpens are awful. And yet somehow the Mets scrape away 2 runs. 2 runs. That's disgusting. And you're talking about Brandon Nimmo. You're talking about Pete Alonso. You're talking about all these guys having opportunities to get big hits, and they just don't come through. And that was the whole point with the Yankees. Like, yeah, they didn't play. 9 innings, they scored 1 run against the lowly Baltimore Orioles. But then they opened it up and they won the game. And that's all you have to do. And so far, the Mets are 0-67, trailing going into the 9th inning. 0-67. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You can't tell me that you can't find a way to fight back. But that's what the season's been about. Whether it's early in the game, they score runs, and then they just give up their plate appearances, and their bats just die, and then all of a sudden their opponent wakes up and catches fire, and shuts them down offensively, but then they wake up with their bats because they're beating up on bad bullpen pitchers, and then they find a way to win the game. Or like we've seen in the past too, where like they just crush our starting pitching, and then our offense is like, all right, I guess we should do something, and they don't do enough. Maybe one inning they'll score like 5 runs, but they're down 7-5, and they still can't score enough. It's all season long the same crap, and it is by far the most annoying season I've ever seen, because basically the Mets have played well enough to be in the mix, but they could never get over the hump. They have been mediocre like the rest of the league, and they just can't. They don't have that killer instinct. And I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Like that magic that was here last year, it's totally gone. There is no magic with the New York Mets. It is lost. It is gone. And they have no fight in them. They don't. And I know it was 2 weeks ago when I came to the eureka moment of, oh, my goodness, the Mets, they're not going to make the playoffs. And I'm pissed. Like, I didn't want that to be right. But right now, honestly, with 6 games left and the Reds taking that last spot in the playoffs because they have the tiebreaker, I honestly think that the Reds have turned into what the Mets were last year, what the Braves were when the Mets had the division in 2022, and then all of a sudden they lost the division. They had the Mets had the lead in for the division lead the entire season. They won 101 games. That wasn't good enough. The Braves took the division. Here, the Reds haven't been in a playoff spot since April 5th. And now we're talking about September 22nd. We're waking up and going, oh my God, the Mets aren't in the playoffs anymore. And the Reds are there. There's 6 games left. You tell me with the cake schedule the Reds have, which game are they losing? I can tell you which ones the Mets are losing. Even if they sweep the Cubs, which they're not, they're only going to win 2 or 3 versus the Marlins, because what's going to happen is the same thing that happens all the time. They're going to go into game 162 and they're going to blow it like they've done over and over and over. And I just don't understand how it keeps on coming back to this. Like, it's a different team. It's a different ownership. It's a different players, different coaches, different managers, different everything. And yet somehow the Mets still do Mets stuff. The Mets still are this team that I talked about it with Rico Bronya with Evan on Friday. I talked about it with Sal during the week too. Like, when's the last time the Mets were able to actually celebrate during the season? 2015 we got to go back to, because they haven't been able to do it the past few years. In 2022, they were trying to win a division. They still haven't won the division. It's 3 years later, and the Mets haven't won the division. So this has just been going on forever, and it's tiring, and it's frustrating. And the worst part about this is they're going to blow it. They're not going to be in the playoffs, and the offseason is going to be completely overshadowed with, oh, well, what do you do with Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso now? You got to bring them back, right? You're going to talk about Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz like those are the only moves the Mets need to do. No, they got so much to do. And we'll get into it, once this season is officially done. We'll get into it on the Rico Bronya. What we're going to do, though, and I'm telling you right now, we are going to need to have conversations about Brandon Nimmo, about Jeff McNeil, about everybody in the bullpen not named Edwin Diaz. You're going to have to do a real deep search of Vientos, Beatty, and Mauricio. Like, which one are you going to stick with, and which one are you going to give up for, like, actual starting pitching? Because Sproat and McLean and Tong are nice, but Manaya, Sanga, Holmes is not a starting pitcher. I'm sorry to break the news to you guys. He's not. Griffin Canny's gone. Montas, hey, guess what? He's going to be on the roster next year, but he's not even a pitch. He's got Tommy John. That's okay. Tyler McGill might have Tommy John surgery. Not like I was sitting there saying, like, oh, Tyler McGill's going to be the rescue here. But David Peterson, we really have to think about him. What is David Peterson? So there are so many pieces to this Mets puzzle that we're going to have to go through. The catching situation, is Francisco Alvarez actually an asset? At the plate, behind the plate, at the dish with his bat, is he actually an asset? Center field is going to be a key piece. You're not going to be able to. I'm not going to live with Tyrone Taylor anymore. And I love Tyrone Taylor. He was fine. I was fine with him and Bader as a combo last year. I was fine with that going into this season. They didn't want to bring Bader back. They did not want to bring Bader back. And I know that because he was waiting around for a contract, an offer from the Mets. Never came. I know that for a fact. Instead, we went, with Jose Siri, who I'm not blaming him for getting hurt. But when he's played, he's been dog shit. Okay? He's legitimately cost us games. Between Cedric Mullins and Jose Siri the past few games, I mean, when do you see a bases clearing or an inside the park home run in the late innings? Like, you got to be kidding me. You're telling me that you were playing that awful a defense that you allowed someone to hit an inside the park home run? And I know Cedric Mullins played the ball terrible, played off the wall, but you got to recover. You have to be like, dude, I'm not catching this. So where's the bounce coming? Where's it going to ricochet off of? Like Soto, the one thing I'll give him credit for is he reads those bounces off of the wall 1,000 times. Like, he'll look at that and be like, I'm not catching that shit. What am I doing? All right, here we go. I'll position myself. Cedric Mullins and Jose Siri, I don't know what they're doing. They look lost. And I've heard people go, oh, that's why Brandon Nimmo has to be a center fielder. Brandon Nimmo is not a center fielder. He's barely a left fielder. He's barely a fielder, okay? And I know that he's a fan favorite. He says the right things, but it's time to move on from Brandon Nimmo. Okay? It's the talk is going to be about Pete Alonso. The talk is going to be about Edwin Diaz. But those are just distractions from the actual reality of second base, third base, catcher, left field, center field, and an actual fucking DH. That's the reality. That's the reality. And Alonso's going to – the fact that Alonso's a free agent because he's going to opt out, you can add first base to that list too. So basically you have a shortstop and a right fielder. That's what they currently have right now. Those are the two positions they're locked in on. I'm sorry, but, like, I'm not sitting here and kissing ass on these kids. Like, Brett Beatty hasn't done enough this year for me to be like, wow, he is the real deal. Mark Vientos took a step back. Yeah, he totally did. Ronnie Mauricio, completely disappointing. Luis Angel Acuna, I was excited for him to play, but his playing time has been diminished, and when he does get in, he doesn't really do anything. And partly because he doesn't, it's kind of like they're frozen. Mauricio and Luis Angel, it's like, hey, you get one opportunity a week. Can you nail this? And they don't. And then we're sitting there going like, oh, well, why do these guys suck? Because they don't get real playing time. So there's a lot to talk about. And David Stearns is going to take a lot of bashing, a lot. And he deserves it. I'm sorry. He really does. What an awful trade deadline. What an awful offseason he had. You can't do that again. Not when you get Juan Soto. Not when you go and say that how this is the, we wanted to change the culture, and yet you're going to collapse again like we've done in years past. It's unacceptable. Let's get to the football because that's the bigger deal. You have two teams in New York that are 0-3. While the Mets are collapsing in Queens, the Jets are collapsing in Tampa. And listen, it was not a close, pretty game at first. Not even like Tampa Bay was running the floor with them, running the gauntlet. They were just making the Jets look stupid. And miraculously enough, the Jets were making some plays, coming back. And the biggest play of the game, which I was excited because I'm like, oh, my goodness, I think I'm going to hit my parlay because Tampa Bay is about to kick a field goal. give them, I think it would have been a 9-point lead at that point in time. Game over. I don't think Tyrod Taylor's bringing them back and driving down and winning this game. But whatever. We'll see what happens. Will McDonald gets a block, kick, return for a touchdown, and they have the lead. Unbelievable. Aaron Glenn is doing a crazy, happy dance on the side of the field. Everyone's bugging out. Jets fans are going crazy. Look at the fight. Oh, my goodness. It's amazing. And then guess what? You realize there's still like a minute and 40 left on the clock. Too much time. Too much time. It's unbelievable. But that was the case. And Tampa Bay drives down the field, and they kick a field goal and win. And this is the problem. I'm already tired of hearing about the moral victories. I'm tired of hearing about, I don't think that was a relatively close game. I think Tampa Bay kind of gave up at a certain point in time, and they have their injuries. They have their issues too. Mike Evans got hurt, so the offense was kind of stuttering here and there. But I ain't very impressed with Tampa Bay, even though they are 3-0. But I'm not very impressed with them. And the Jets, again, they jetted. They figured out a way to lose. It's highly frustrating. They played a really bad first half of the game. They were terrible. They were getting blown out in Tampa Bay. They fought back. That's nice, but you got to fight the whole game. And again, I'm going to tell you right now, there's one guy in particular who gets, and I can't believe how high he gets graded in PFF. Sauce Gardner is not this elite cornerback. I am sorry. I see you study the tape, you look at him, and you can see he is not really impacting plays. He's, if there's a play that, it gets broken up, there's like, a play that maybe he's touched, maybe he's grabbing the offense while the wide receiver too early, but gets away with it. Maybe there's a bad pass. He seems to be getting credit with a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be getting credit for. And yet on plays where he gets beat, it's like, oh, well, they didn't score a touchdown on that, or oh, whatever. It's like, no, dude, you just got paid. That was the biggest thing. Like Garrett Wilson went out, had a good game today. It was frustrating, but he ended up having 100+ yards, got a touchdown, or close to 100 yards, but got a touchdown and looked the role. Did his job. Sauce Gardner, I'm sorry, but you're getting beat too often. You're not making a lot of tackles. You're definitely not making impactful plays on defense, like turnovers and stuff like that. So what are you doing? What are you doing? It's not good enough. But everyone's sweating Sauce Gardner. And again, I see him in the rankings of PFF, and it's like, oh, he's ranked the highest rated cornerback in the league. Why? What does he do? I just see him get beat by Mike Evans. That's what I see him. Yeah, he's tough to cover. Okay, but if you're the best in the league, shut him down, dude. That's what Darrelle Revis used to do. And finally, we'll just end with the Giants because that was just disgusting. And now, again, both Jets and Giants, 0-3 respectively. And we have 0-6 football seasons to start the season. And next week is not going to be much easier. I know the Jets have a decent matchup with the Dolphins, but the Giants are going to bring in the Chargers in. And how are you supposed to get this team to fight week in and week out when you got ton of media, ton of everybody talking about Jackson Dart? Like, no offense to the kid, but he's played 6 snaps? He hasn't thrown a ball yet. He was called to throw the ball today, and he didn't do it. He's not ready yet. And do you really want him to go out there and get killed? I don't. Russell Wilson was getting destroyed. Now, on the other hand, too, I will say this. Russell Wilson looked really lost in that fourth quarter where the game was tight the entire time. It felt like the game was tight. It felt like the Giants were right there the entire time. Even at 16-6, it felt like they were there. It's like, okay, 2-score lead, but you could still find a way to come back. Then 69, okay, one score. You could make this work. But yet the offense stumbled a lot. They couldn't. And here's the thing, right? Everyone talked about going into this game, Russ, you can't rely on the moon ball. It's not going to work. No, it didn't work. It didn't work for the Chiefs. I get that. But Patrick Mahomes was doing it. And I see other teams do it on a weekly basis. So why can't Russell Wilson do it? There was a couple plays where he was short on Malik Neighbors in the end zone. That's a problem, right? If you're going to overthrow him in the end zone. That's one thing, but don't underthrow and then get an interception. Okay. Graham Gano gets hurt in the beginning of the game too, which also added more pressure to this because now you're not really going to get 3 points every drive. You're going to pray to get 3 points every drive. They score a touchdown with Scatabo and they have to go and go for 2 because, or no, sorry, they did. They had Gillen try to go for the extra point. He couldn't do it. And then Godot finally came out and hit a field goal during the game. But again, by that point in time, it was too late. Needed him sooner than that. It's amazing every year, like Andrew Thomas on a pitch count, doesn't play enough. Once he's done, it feels like the team is done. You have Dexter Lawrence, who's, I don't know why, but I looked at his percentages from last year and the year before that. And he's playing about, in previous years, 60%, 70% of snaps. He played 40-something% of the snaps today. Like maybe 42, maybe 43% of the snaps on defense. That's one of your top defenders, and he's not on in big spots in the game, coming in on third down. Like one of the drives, there were 7 offensive plays by the Chiefs. He played 2 snaps in those 7 plays, not including kicks and punts or whatever. I'm just talking about the actual plays where they're offensively going, trying to gain yards. He played 2 of 7 snaps. I feel like that's a problem. I feel like they need a full, more Dexter Lawrence on the field. I feel like he stuffs the run. He does a lot of stuff. And you know what? Like, not for nothing, Brian Burns has been balling this season so far. He's the one guy who just constantly puts pressure on the quarterback. Got another sack today. They couldn't handle. I mean, there were so many miscues by Patrick Mahomes too. It felt like they had opportunities that they could have taken advantage of this game and won, and they couldn't do it. Bobby Okereke has an opportunity to jump on a ball, and Patrick Mahomes rips it from his hands. He, rather than go and dive on it, he goes and he picks it up with his bare hands, and Mahomes just rips it from him. And like those things, that's an opportunity for the Giants, who doesn't have that good offense right now, or in this game, they didn't have a great offense, to put yourself in a scoring position like that in the red zone. Oh my God. And it just miss after miss after miss, flag after flag. And it's the same story. And people now are calling for Dart. He's not ready. He's not ready for this. And I still think that, like, the best, if the Giants want to win, which I think the fans want to see a win, I really think so. If they want it, then Russell Wilson's the guy. I don't know what happened the fourth quarter, because that was a rough fourth quarter. They had success on the run up until Tyrone Tracy. Well, they Cam Scatterbo still has successful runs and stuff like that, but Tyrone Tracy had a different element of it. Like, Scatterbo's going nose to nose and head to head with people. Meanwhile, Tyrone Tracy was just, trying to find some holes, doing some spinoramas, trying to find ways to get around the defense. And unfortunately, he got hurt, was out with a shoulder, and then the rest is history. It's been a rough day for the New York teams, and the Giants now again are 0-3. The one thing I can say is Taylor Swift, I don't believe, was here, because I saw Brittany Mahomes, I saw Patrick Mahomes Sr., and I saw somebody else too that I don't know who it was, but they were all together. And usually Taylor, I think, is in that crew wherever they go if they're leaving and getting escorted out. I did not see her with them, so I'm assuming she was not here. I didn't see her on a big screen. I didn't see her on the TV, so I did see a Taylor in the crowd, though. So Lawrence Taylor, he was here. But besides that, it was another rough football Sunday for the locals. The Mets season is over. I mean, I said this a couple of weeks ago when I realized that they were not going to get past when they were playing the Philly series in Philadelphia, that this was not going to happen for them. It's disappointing that I'm right. I don't want to be right. I actually want to be very wrong on this, but clarity hit, and it's frustrating. But you're now talking about 2 football teams that are looking for a top 5 pick again if they can't get it right. And I don't think at this point in time, I don't think either are going to get it right. It's disappointing because there was so much promise with both teams. Defensively, the Giants, you felt it, like they have really good pieces. They're just not performing. I mean, Paulson Adebo, Holland. I mean, they have so many good pieces on this defense. Cordell Flott's been stepping up. And yet somehow it is just not working out. They can't make big stops. They make too many stupid penalties. And then they gave up too many points. And their offense today was ineffective. And that's the problem. You need to be able to just imagine they were able to stop Dallas and only give up 22 points or 21 points like they did to the Commanders and like they did against the Chiefs today. That would have been enough to win last week. But that's the week they give up 40 points. Game 1 and game 3, they put up a combined 42 points. They allow a combined 42 points of offense, or 43 points, offense against their opponents. Yet, the one game that they put up 37 points, they allow their team, their opponent to score 40. I mean, come on. It's just, you can't win. And I'm starting to feel, I don't say I feel bad for Dable and Shane, but I mean, the pressure's on, man. Like, you just have to find ways to win. And it's not winning with the fans. It's not winning with the media. It's actually win a freaking game. And the Chargers are coming to town. They're 3-0. And they don't look like they're going to stop anytime soon. I don't know how you're going to stop the freight train. Do they have the players that are going to prevent this? We'll find out. All right, listen. Thank you again for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. I'll be on at 10 a.m. with BT and Sal. So get ready for that. That should be fun. None of us hit our parlays. So another week that didn't happen. But I got 10 points in the perfect parlay because I picked against the home teams to win. Yes, I picked that the Buccaneers and the Chiefs would win. And I was right. I'm not happy about it, but I was right. Again, I'm not going to pick them. Until they win, I can't believe they're going to win. They can go 0-17 at this point in time. It's ridiculous. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Again, follow me at Hoff WFAN and enjoy your Monday morning. Peace.